with that, he's started to create a couple of different patches and all that, and it grew and grew and grew. But you see here, 2008, he focuses attention on stem cell research. Raise your hand if you've heard a little bit about stem cells lately. Even before LifeWave, right? It's people know the stem cells. So he spent 10 years and $4.5 million on how do we treat our body. You know, God created our body to heal itself, right? Not to get pills and injections and all these things, but to heal itself. So how do we do that? Spent 10 years. And so in 16 years, this company went from nothing to $20 million in annual sales because of this patch, these other patches. And then this thing came out 4 years ago. I'm going to show you a little bit later what that did from a growth standpoint, which is pretty exciting. But his brain and what we've got on the horizon come in June, holy moly. It is pretty incredible what we're about to do here with this company. All right, so patented technology, there's multiple patents. Obviously, he holds 200 patents, but multiple patents on just this one sticker alone that's falling off on the X39. There's two things that I really love about this. Number one, you can't get a patent on anything unless you obviously prove it does what it's saying it does, right? So this says right here in the patent, including the activation of stem cells. And so there's one of the parts that, you know, it's proven that it's doing that. The other side, if you are somebody that's even maybe thinking about the business side, because I wasn't, but if you're looking at this from a business standpoint, a patent is good for 20 years. We have 16 more years on a patent on a technology that nobody else in the world has. That is an outstanding situation to be in. So I love the fact that this multi-patented technology. So why stem cell activation patch? So everybody knows the first two here, right? The older we get, we're starting to feel it. Who felt it when you turned 30? Who felt it when you turned 40? Right? How about 50? I'm not going to go on. I'm just not going to. But I've learned my lesson. But with that, right, every single decade we feel it. We feel it differently. I can stand in front of you and tell you that I felt better on my 50th birthday than I did on my 40th birthday. You know, I didn't have the aches and pains. I didn't have that. I was tired all the time. And you know, as a guy going to the bathroom 47 times a night, I can say it. I got doctor's here. So yeah. Right. But we know those symptoms of aging that we all feel, right? So everybody knows that. What we don't know, what most people don't know, and I don't know if you knew this, Dr. Barrett, but at age 30, we lose half of our stem cell activity, half of it, right? It doesn't die, it just goes dormant, so we don't have the activation that it had. And then at age 60, we're lucky to have 2 or 3 stem cells left. Okay, that's a little exaggeration. But, you know, we're like 4 to 5, 10% max if we're lucky. And that's why we look the way we do, we feel the way we do at 60 and beyond, and we get to these ages and we accept what 40 is all about. We accept what 50 and what 60 and what 70 is all about, because that's the natural aging process. We said that's not how we were built. And so that's why he created this, and guys, this is changing the planet. So here's how it works. It's a proprietary form of phototherapy. Raise your hand if you know what phototherapy is. All right, cool. So I didn't need it. So here's one of the best ways that I love to describe phototherapy. Again, I would encourage you, Google phototherapy. It's very, very amazing what this does. But have you ever gone outside on a sunny day and said, I'm going to get some vitamin D? Right? We all do it, right? But we also know that the sun doesn't give us vitamin D, right? It's our body's reaction to the sun that creates vitamin D. It's the same thing as phototherapy, right? So that's our body's reacting to this, and it stimulates that. So patented nanocrystal technology. Is that nanocrystal thing freaking anybody out yet? It did me. I was like, what, you got robots going on? I don't know what's going on. But so nanocrystal, it's salts and sugars is basically what this is. And it's nano is small, so they're in crystallized form. But here's what's neat. It reflects the light to activate. It's not these lights, right? It's not the sun. It's the light from our body. So who knew that we had light in our body, right? So we have frequency, we have light coming. If you've ever seen somebody in night vision goggles, right? We have our own light and frequency. So our body's light and frequency reacts to the technology on this patch, goes back and tells our brain, like a cell phone almost, elevate your HCU copper peptide, which then turns on your dormant stem cells. And then our body acts like a triage at a hospital and says, what is messed up on our body? We need to go fix X, Y, Z. So you may be looking for knee pain and wondering, you know what, this goofy guy, this surfer-looking guy that came from St. Louis, I don't know where he's surfing there, is insane, looking for knee pain. I have knee pain too, but I don't see the difference yet. But you're in a triage situation, you may have something going on with your heart, or your brain, or your lungs, or your eyes that's more important, that you're going to see that a little bit quicker. So that's how that works. I love these last three though. Non-transdermal, no drugs, no chemicals, no stimulants, non-invasive. Here's what that means. Everybody can use this thing. Everybody. There's nothing in this sticker, this patch, that's going past your skin, that's going into your bloodstream at all. It is all through signals, all through light, which is very, very awesome. All right, benefits of X39. Raise your hand, please, if you're wearing X39 today. All right, so we got maybe a third of the room. Raise your hand if you've seen 2 or more of these things so far wearing X39. So, pretty awesome. And I can say that with confidence, right? I've never been to this room here and asked these people. We had a room that I did with 200 people, and it's the same results. People see these things. I can tell you, 2 years wearing this, I've seen every bit of this, plus a whole lot more, but we're just going to go over this list here. So increased strength, I was telling some guys earlier, I've personally seen massive increased strength. I worked out since I was fighting with my brother back when he was 8. But increased strength is a major thing. Reduced inflammation, it's the worst thing in the world is inflammation for the body, right? But the significant reduction of inflammation is huge. Increased stamina, energy and vitality. Raise your hand if you've seen some energy and vitality out of this thing, right? That's huge. Mental clarity, guys. I'm going to show you a slide on the mental clarity thing. I wasn't looking for that part. I was looking for knee issues. That is by far, as I tell you about the different things that I've got from my team that we're hearing from, that part is the most heart-wrenching thing that you're hearing out there, what it's doing for people. Restored muscle and skeletal condition. When I first heard that, I'm thinking people that are trying to put on muscle and doing things like that. What I come to find out when I'm talking to different people that are aging, they're saying, I'm not looking to build muscle. I'm looking at protecting my bones with muscle. And which really helped me understand that, and that's what this does, is helps you with your skeletal condition and your restored muscle. Improvement of sleep is massive. Improvement of skin appearance. I'm telling you, I don't know how long you guys have each been. If you go to my meetings in St. Louis, some of these guys have been on it for 1.5 years, 2 years. It's like Cocoon in there, right? They're just all pretty, right? And they're all 7 years old, but we look 40 on it. But you will see, I mean, I've got some pictures here of people literally on our team, and you can see some dramatic differences on really just about everybody that's using this. So those are some of the benefits. All right, so this is a topography map. Has anybody seen a scan of a brain before? So this is really interesting as we talk about what this does for your brain. So the first picture on the left-hand side, that is inflammation in the brain. This is a 77-year-old woman. Right, so inflammation in the brain at that age, not abnormal, right? But any thoughts on there on inflammation in the brain, what that can cause in people? Mm-hmm.
Dementia?
Yep, dementia, absolutely. What else? Parkinson's, right? Anybody know anybody with Parkinson's? Yeah. Right? But some of the other things, stress, anxiety, depression, PTSD. Right, we all know people that are dealing with some of these things. And just think about 20, 30, 40 years ago, how many people were on drugs for things like that? Right, comparison to today, it's massive. But look at the difference here. That sun is doing good stuff here. So session 1 here, you can see the inflammation on her brain. Session 2 is just 3 weeks later. And look at the difference in inflammation on this lady's brain there. And then session 3 is on 6 weeks. This is what's considered a balanced brain on her left and right lobes there. Massive, massive differences. Guys, I've seen so many testimonials of people that are on our team and beyond, but this is the most heart-wrenching thing when you're hearing people on our team in St. Louis that they're just the sweetest ladies in the world, and she's up here doing a presentation. We're thinking she's talking about her shoulder issue, and she says she was contemplating suicide for the last 8 years, and she is completely great right now, and I've got a new outlook on life. We were down in Punta Mita a few weeks ago, and I was talking. One of the things I love to do besides going to the beach and fighting with birds. You'll see that here in a little bit. Yeah, it's no joke. But it is asking people not just like, hey, where are you from and what's your team look like and all that, but what are your results? What are some of the great testimonies you heard from your team? And every time I'm blown away by some of these testimonies. And the best one that I heard 3 weeks ago was this lady said, we have one of our family members has been in a coma for 12 years. And it was a type of coma where she's not completely comatose. Thank you. But she could only communicate with her hand, right? And that was it. 3 days after wearing this patch, she's completely talking normal to people. And she goes, I'm at the beach because I'm sharing this. This is a godsend that it's doing things. So yeah, my knee doesn't hurt anymore, and that's a stupid story in comparison to what we got out there. So your story may be awesome. Don't look at your story. If you want to look at this as a business, don't look at this as how can I make money with this? How can we change lives? Because we're changing lives in a big way with this, guys. All right, long-term case results. So